Right then, so I'll take you through how to put together your rope access kit. So the main part obviously is the harness. Comes in two sections. You've got the shoulder straps or the chest harness at the top, and then what we call a sit harness at the bottom, which is waist belt, 2 leg loops. So this is the Petzl Navajo, which is probably the industry standard, what most people tend to use. So to put it on, if I let the shoulder straps fall to one side, get hold of the waist belt so that I can step through into my leg loops. Check that your leg loops aren't twisted here. Buckles should be on the outside. Hitch it up over your waist, and then if you get hold of the ends here and lean forward, we can crank it up nice and tight. Leg loops should be reasonably snug, they don't need to be tight. And then we can tidy away these waist straps through the D-rings on the side and into the plastic clips. Shoulder straps, make sure you're not twisted at the back. Lift one over your head and then pull it tight and nice and central. Again, we can tidy this strap away into some elastic there on the shoulder. So that's the basic harness. We've got a Petzl ID descender, stands for industrial descender. That's going to be our main item for going down the rope. Ascenders, we've got a chest ascender on the harness, and we use that in conjunction with a handle descender and a foot loop for going up the rope. On our second rope, we use a backup device. This is a Petzl ASAP. Very versatile device, best on the market at the moment. And then I've got a couple of extra bits of kit. We've got an étrier, which is just a tape ladder really, for an extra foot loop. And then this piece of dynamic rope here, which we're going to make into a small set of lanyards called cow's tails. So we're going to tie up a set of basic cow's tails. We're going to do it with a single piece of 11mm dynamic mountaineering rope. It's about 4 meters long, and I start off by finding the middle of the rope, and then either side of the middle tie a very simple overhand knot, like so. So this loop in the middle is going to form what we call our short cow's tail, and the two ends are going to form my long cow's tail, so I'll end up with 3 separate lanyards. So if I start with one end then, through the D-ring, and what I'm going to do is turn this single overhand knot into a double overhand knot. So I do that by what we call following through with the rope. So I'm trying to create 2 parallel strands of rope from one. So fairly simple. Keep it as neat as possible, nice and close to the D-ring. Same on the other end. So I'm following the rope around to create 2 nice, neat, parallel strands. Just neaten it up, nice and neat and tight, something like that. Length for your short cow's tail needs to be below your chin. That's probably a little bit long for a lot of jobs, so I'll just adjust the knots a little bit to tighten it. Something like that. Okay, so that's going to be a more useful length. Ends of the cow's tails, I'm going to use a different knot. It's a slip knot called a barrel or a scaffold knot. And I start off by halving the cow's tail back to my D-ring. And then if I put my fist on the loop, so the loop of the rope is by my little finger, my thumb's pointing back to the harness, I'm going to take the end of the rope and wrap it around this rope and my thumb. And I'm going to go around twice, crossing over. Once I've got that, I take my thumb out and put the end of the rope through where my thumb was, and you get that knot. If we pull it tight, put a carabiner in the loop, and then tighten it up. So we've got a lanyard that we can use to clip in. The knot holds the carabiner in the end. And this being a slip knot is a very good energy absorbing knot as well. You want to make sure the tails on your knots are at least the width of your fist so that they're not working loose. I'll do the same in the other end. Okay, so I've got two long cow's tails on my D-ring there. I've got a short cow's tail. I don't tend to leave a carabiner on that because it knocks against you, but I can have one on my harness for when I need it. My descender I'm going to attach with a D-shaped carabiner, and I want to end up with the gate of the carabiner facing me so it doesn't get knocked open by any structure I'm working against. So if I clip the carabiner down through the gold side, flip the carabiner around, and then clip it up into my D-ring to the right of my cow's tails. When I screw it up, that's going to stay there then. If I'm on my short cow's tail, it's not trapping this in between them, it's out of the way. And when I'm using it, the gold side's facing me for opening and closing, and the back of the carabiner is going to knock into anything. For going up the rope, I need a foot loop on my handle descender. So I'll clip this rope foot loop onto the handle descender. If I put my foot in, I want to adjust the length of the foot loop so there's a little bit of overlap between the bottom of my handle descender and the top of my chest descender. So this is a tiny bit on the long side. Shorten it down by an inch. Something more like that should do. Now, when I'm using this, although I don't need to be attached to it, it's good if it's attached to me. I don't want to be dropping it. So I keep one of my long cow's tails attached to the carabiner like that. And then, so I'm not tripping over the foot loop, I put that up into the attachment section there. And then use my cow's tail to clip it to my side D-ring. Last couple of bits then. My ASAP backup device. This is a fall arrest device with a bespoke lanyard for it. So that needs to go onto my chest attachment point. It comes with a carabiner that must be used on the ASAP, this gold one with the triple action gate. And at the other end, it's worth having a carabiner that isn't going to get cross-loaded. So this one's got a bar across it, and we've got a rubber keeper there just to stop that carabiner getting cross-loaded in the event of a fall. Last couple of bits, I've got an étrier, which is a little tape ladder. It's just a spare foot loop, really, for when I'm aid climbing. If I take the third foot loop down and clip it up into the top, that shortens it neatly, and then I'll keep it out of the way on the back of my harness there. Last bits of kit, 2 or 3 spare carabiners. Just keep them on my side. One of them I'll need for my short cow's tail. The others may come in handy. Okay.